This time we'll call it Tuesday, March 1st, 2022 meeting of the Jackson County Board of Supervisors to order. Larry McDevitt, Mike Steinis, and myself, Jack Lilly, are your supervisors. We have Lisa and Bjorn from the auditor's office. And first item on our agenda today is Dave Driver, our county engineer. Good morning, David.
Good morning. First item on the agenda is discussion action on the South Main Street Bridge Project, a joint project with the city of Macokota for South Main Street over Prairie Creek. The city is the lead on the project and secured $1 million grant for the construction. The engineer's estimate for the project was $1,380,553. The low bid was submitted by Schrader Construction at $1,366,530.48. That's $14,022.52 under budget. The next lowest bid was $84,284.87 higher by Taylor Construction. So we recommend proceeding with the resolution, and then the city council will act on their portion next week at their meeting on Monday. It's expected to start or the late start date is June 6th. They have 95 days for construction, so we're expecting a late to September completion.
Can you give me that low bid number again, David?
It's on the resolution
Right there.
$1,366,530.48.
Fourth paragraph.
Yeah, fourth paragraph.
It's probably right over here with
And this,
Lisa's pad.
Yeah, I gave you a copy of the resolution.
Looks just like that.
starting June 6th and should be.
That's the
done.
late start date. They may start sooner.
Oh, okay. Okay.
This is resolution number 868-03-01-2022.
And
868.
do I remember years back that we figured $1.5 million or better?
That's what we were originally estimating as.
And I guess maybe a silly question, when the $1 million grant comes off the top and then it's still a 6630, okay.
Absolutely.
Then I would approve the low bid of Schrader, or approve resolution 868-0301-2022. Have a second.
A motion and a second to approve the resolution for the South Main Street Bridge replacement. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. I'm sure we'll.
90 days from June.
I handed out to you a quick printed up packet of map locations for the few day labor bridges that we have planned for this fall. The first project is Bellevue 2088. The estimate from the contractor for construction, Schrader Construction, for this bridge is $99,092. $92.00. That is on 216th Street near Canine Comfort. Second bridge is Iowa 0252, just off of 52nd, Highway 52 on 576 Avenue. The estimate for construction is $93,476. And then the final bridge is on 175th Street, just west of 61. And that estimate is $99,367. We recommend proceeding with the bridges. They are more costly than we had originally bookmarked them for, anywhere from 20 to 30%. And we are told that materials are increasing at that general percentage, and that's why everything's coming in more costly.
So Schrader got all three of the bids,
Yes,
and you said Farmers Creek 1265 was what? On our, it says 106,867.
it is $99,367.
And the second one was,
Second one
I don't have a
was
99,000.
I have a 106,860 on this.
Yeah.
that,
No,
we had to modify that. I didn't think that you had gotten that, so my apologies. I
Okay.
would have,
that's where I was.
yeah, sorry. No, we had to do some reconfiguration, so those numbers are old.
Okay, so let's have
For the
the,
minutes, let me make sure. So the Iowa Bridge is at 93,476,
93,476,
93,476. The Bellevue Bridge is 92,090.
99. Bellevue is 99,092.
So that went up 7,000.
Yes.
And the Farmers Creek Bridge is 106,867.
No, that was
99.
reduced to 99,367.
so we averaged out. That one went down 7,000. Yeah.
99 what?
360.
367.
367. So these are all concrete decks and what's the width on the bridges?
They generally 27 feet wide.
Okay. Concrete rails and
They'll be this type that we've done before. I don't think they're concrete.
They normally are concrete rails and then they have then they put the
The guard on the
guard
On top.
Yeah.
I would make a motion to approve the day labor wages as quoted from Schrader Construction as low bidder.
second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried.
And final item for me this morning is a permit for construction in the right of way from McLeod USA Telecommunications. They are placing fiber optic cable along the west side of 250th Avenue, Richmond Township, section 22 and 27. So they're undergrounding and taking down some existing aerial cable. And so we recommend approval of that.
Motion to approve.
I would second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried.
To, was that Mr. Costello, the confinement facility?
Yeah.
Gary Owens. I've been to him up there looking at it, so he gave me the grand tour of his.
I
site.
drove up there and, prior to that facility, right where it's at there, there's a monoslope building that's real close to the road. And
Yeah,
I don't have an issue where it's at.
yeah,
I would just say that, and as I talked to Christina about it, that the DNR is still involved as far as parameters.
yeah.
I don't think there's any issue at all where you put the building.
No,
It's 50, 60 feet from the fence line, not even the road, so it's.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, if the salt blocks didn't move, I was looking where the tubs were that.
That's right.
I called Christina to come down.
oh, did you?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, David.
Thanks.
That's it.
Welcome.
Nice sunny day. 50 today. Well, you want to talk about rain Wednesday, it's Saturday maybe or something. I don't know.
Watch the same rain.
Probably it's frost out.
That was my
Good
Christmas
morning.
yesterday.
Really?
Yeah.
Just from the
Not a
snow?
lot, I mean, but
Yeah.
it was running dirty like. So
I
it's bad.
didn't check the big creek and see what that's doing.
This time we're joined by Christina Trinnell, our Jackson County zoning administrator. And we're here to make a decision on the occupancy request.
Morning.
Good morning.
I think we all had an opportunity to visit the site or the location and sounds like we don't have a problem,
Okay.
so.
Is that on yours, Lisa? No, or is there
No, it's not, but I believe that I have a copy of the waiver that they would like to have us sign. Is that a Jackson County waiver? Is it their waiver?
No, it was a
Our
waiver from Kent.
So we had Eldon McAfee prepared. He's the attorney we usually use for these sort of things. He's also the Iowa Pork Producers Attorney. So he does several of these, but so anyway, it was prepared by Eldon McAfee in Des Moines, Iowa with Brick and Gentry.
And Sarah did review this and said that she was okay with it.
Okay, so is there a public hearing for this? No, just, okay.
Nope.
And we just need to approve the contract as presented to us.
So
And
this is for the waiver for the separation distance. And it's not,
That's all it is.
that's all it is. It's not a construction permit.
Motion to approve.
I would second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye, motion carried.
Thank you, folks.
Thanks.
It requires a notary signature.
That's awesome.
So
everybody?
Not here
Yeah.
today.
Well,
So-
Chris can have
Stacy's,
well, we have other notarized signatures that we need to do today, so at the end of the meeting, we will,
Hold somebody up.
and we'll, because we'll have all of the resolutions to sign, we'll have some notary that we'll
And you
need.
get to put a kind of stamp on them.
And some of this, yes,
That's actually-
so I would appreciate that after the board meeting, and I know it's a long meeting today, but well, you'd have to wait till after the meeting. Yeah, otherwise we'll have to send it to them, because obviously we're full today.
Yeah, and then.
are there any visitors or citizens wishing to address the board?
So I'll just think-
Seeing none or hearing none, we'll move to Jeannie. Morning. Morning, Jeannie. Jeannie Collins Hire, our Jackson Weed Commissioner. We're in a department update.
I guess we needed to approve the reconditioner resolution, and then there's some copies of the forms we updated and the letters we sent out ahead of the notices.
Will these only go out if there's weeds out there, or they do send it out and publish it or what?
Basically, it's someone complains, and then I'll go out and look and see if there is actually a problem. And then the plan is to send them this letter, let them know there is a problem, somebody's
Okay.
complained, and then ask them to address it. And then if they don't address it, then we move on to the order to destroy, and then it gives them so many days to destroy the weeds. And if they fail to do so, then it becomes an involuntary, and we go out and destroy the weeds and assess the cost, and it gets billed to the.
So if I find some weeds that I need to get rid of, or somebody says something like that, do you recommend what product to use for that? Or-
I can try to help you do that, yes.
Okay. 'Cause I don't normally use any. And then there's times I probably should, but. Just don't pack them off.
There's a lot of chemicals out there, and you have to try to use the right one. I'm not familiar with all of them either.
Okay. I didn't
So I
if that
know
was a
that our
service
not,
that-
oops, go ahead. I know that in our not to speed ordinance, resolution, or whatever you want to call it, is it also says that the landowners are responsible to maintain the from the right of way,
Right.
but it's never been really enforced as far as
No.
cutting the brush and maintaining the roadway.
And sometimes maybe the landowners aren't really aware of the weed that's there either.
Yeah.
So I remember I got a call once from somebody that says you need to come out and clear the ditches because it was looking shabby, and I'm like, your ditches. Our ditches, your weeds, clear that way.
I mean, there is a lot of it that's getting a lot better, I should say that. I mean, they're taking pride in what they have, you know, as landowners and stewards of the land. And but a lot of fence lines are grown up so bad you can't even see the fence anymore. So is there, the resolution, is there more than one, or this is all together in the resolution?
resolution, should just list the weeds and then, Luann will publish that in the paper.
Okay, well, I would make a motion to approve the 22 noxious weeds resolution.
So we have 869 and 870.
This is 869 for
Oh,
noxious
okay,
weeds.
I just thinking,
Yes, this is resolution 869.
I would second that.
With a motion and a second to approve the resolution on noxious weeds. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye, motion carried.
That gets published again, also we publish that every year.
Yes,
And then you're all right with the forms.
Yep.
look good.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Or is there another resolution that should?
That's, I thought it was part of this one, but it's a different one.
Yeah.
In
For the
total
bank.
today, there's 5 resolutions to be passed.
Is Listen here, do you want to do any of your business? Because we don't have our public hearing till 9:30.
Well, mine is not time dependent, so.
These are all kind of time too.
Okay, so this morning I need a motion to approve the minutes of the February 22nd, 2022 board proceedings as written by Auditor Smith and authorize publication in the official newspapers.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the publication of the minutes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried.
Motion needed to approve and authorize the auditor's office to issue warrants in the publication of the claims listing in the amount of $495,989.99.
So moved.
Second?
Motion and a second to approve the claims. We had a rather large insurance claim in there, so
Yeah,
our
253,000
premium
is our current premium.
Annual.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried.
The next 2 resolutions are pertaining to the law enforcement center. As we've all known that the bonds have been sold. We will have a closing here approximately on March 16th, but this next 2 resolutions is what I have sent you for your review. And so we some sign and some date, we kind of go back and forth, but I have a stack of paperwork that will need to be signed today. I did talk to Sarah, County Attorney Sarah Davenport. She's referred all of our questions to our bond counsel at Allers and Cooney. And so today is just kind of getting towards the home stretch here when it comes to the bonds, for the bonds. So this morning I need a motion to approve resolution number 870-03-01-2022. Appointing the paying agent, note registrar, and transfer agent, approving the paying agent and note registrar and transfer agent agreement, and authorizing the execution of the agreement. And this will be a roll call vote.
Yeah, and like I said, when you had sent that, there's a lot of repetitious and there's a lot of attorney language and Steve has gone through all that, and I'm glad that we have them on board.
Amen.
All the work that you've done with going through it takes a while to get through all that, and I appreciate what you're doing there. And
Sunday morning is my morning, and that's why
yeah, that's when we got them.
I was here. In situations, and I can see that Northland is on. I don't know if it's Heidi or someone else, but.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well,
This is Heidi.
Okay, good morning, Heidi. How are you?
Morning.
So.
I'm doing great.
Good. So we're all systems go here. We're gonna pass these 2 resolutions today, and we'll get some signatures on all of the forms. My goal is tomorrow morning, and maybe I'll give you a call here later on, but my goal is tomorrow morning is to overnight all of this stuff back to Steve. So we can make sure that we've dotted our i's and crossed our t's in plenty of time. So
Perfect. Well, and for the board, this is the last board action for the bonds. The board does not have to be present for closing. We'll coordinate that with the auditor's office. So this is your last stamp and basically signing on the dotted line of the agreement. Everything's been put together all into a very large document that Lisa sure knows.
You just,
He understands, this is our documents that came to us that needs to have signatures. And I have everything tickied, so what we need to do correctly. And we'll take some time after the board meeting today to have Jack sign some of these.
you
So,
just wanted us to spend our Sunday reading, didn't you?
Sunday,
Yeah.
Monday night, Monday.
Yeah. Couldn't get it all read in Sunday
No,
afternoon, that's
it's
for darn
very
sure.
overwhelming.
So that was again, one of the notes I had wrote down as far as the time frame of it, they mentioned the 13th or something like that of March, and the 16th was the closing, so if you're doing mail, that's a.
That's why
slim-
I'm gonna pay the fee,
Yeah,
and I'm gonna
I
overnight
didn't know if
it.
electronic transmission was sufficient or
They need
not.
original signatures, they need wet signatures.
Good deal.
So that's my goal is tomorrow
So you
is,
sign and then spit on it.
yeah, so that's my goal tomorrow is to get all of these documents and ready to go, and then I'm gonna overnight it, I'm gonna spend the money and get it overnighted, so Steve has a chance to take a look at it, and I know that Heidi has some information too that she needs to look at, so that's my goal is tomorrow to get it done.
Well, let's get going. I would
Yes.
make a motion to approve resolution 870-0301-2022.
Second.
And allow for all the appropriate signatures. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Roll call vote.
Roll
It's a
call
roll
vote.
call vote.
Steinis,
Aye.
Willie,
Aye.
McDevitt.
Aye.
My next resolution to finalize this is I need a motion to approve resolution number 871-03-01-2022. Amending the resolution approving and authorizing the form of loan agreement and authorizing and providing for the issuance and levying a tax to pay the notes, approval of the tax exemption certificates and continuing disclosure certificates.
Motion to approve. I would second.
And a roll call vote. Steinis,
Aye.
Willie,
Aye.
and McDevitt.
Yes.
And my final resolution is on the maximum property tax, but we do have a public hearing scheduled for today at 10 o'clock, so I will defer until then. Thank you. Thanks, Heidi.
Yep, you bet.
Thanks, Heidi. Okay. So we still have 5 minutes before our leisure lake.
Who is doing, Luann's part? Anybody?
I can. If you would like.
Well, it's filled out here, but if you have, I have the calendar there.
It looks,
Calendar is RTA tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. 4 o'clock, I have a Mississippi Valley Workforce CEO Zoom meeting. And at 6 o'clock, 911 meeting for Mike. And then it looks like Thursday, Friday, and next Monday. Doesn't look like there's much going on this week.
I have one for the watershed authority, but that's not on there.
Okay, when is that?
Not sure yet.
Oh, okay.
That'll be before next Tuesday.
I know we're going to have a special mental health meeting too. Couldn't take care of some of our business yesterday, so they're gonna call a special meeting sometime this week. And if Luann had any other business, she did not tell me when she called me this morning.
There's no action anywhere there, correct?
Pardon?
There's no action anywhere.
I didn't see anything on her agenda, no.
And the RTA is either in Dubuque or Zoom.
Yes.
Is this general information?
So we have a public hearing scheduled at 9:30 for the Leisure Lake Pavilion project.
Are you Dave by any chance?
Dave.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
I'm
if you want to come up, Dave, that'd be great, and then we'll get ready and we'll start our public hearing. Tricia or Matt?
Come on.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'm just here to observe.
Sounds good. Yes, and you know what, I
Yep.
forgot about our
Okay.
$20,000 admin fee, so I
All right.
just popped it in there, but no, doesn't change
Very
your
good.
match.
Well, I think we're gonna go ahead and start the public hearing on the community development housing need assessment, and, oh no, that's for later on. This is for the Leisure Lake Pavillion project, CDBG grant.
I will just read through the 9 points that are required by the grant for the project. During COVID, residents could not safely gather in the building for recreational activities for the Leisure Lake Community Center, as there was not enough space to socially distance from one another. Additionally, there is not enough room for all Leisure Lake residents to seek shelter in the current building while safely social distancing. The total estimated cost for the project is $430,000, of which the Leisure Lake Property Owners Association will request $358,000 in Cdbg grant funding. The Leisure Lake Property Owners Association has conducted several fundraising events and has $72,000 to provide as the local match. The date the application will be submitted, we are aiming for March 15th, 2022. That is our goal. We are requesting $358,000 from Cdbg. The Leisure Lake community consists of over 50% senior population. There are 151 permanent homes, and an income survey conducted of these homes indicates that 78% of the permanent residents qualify as low to moderate income status. The community center will remain at its current location of 1010-1, I guess, Paris Street in Bernard, Iowa, 52032. The community center will be accessible by all Leisure Lake residents, and there will be no persons displaced. The project will consist of rehabilitation, and in addition to the existing community center, the building currently has a kitchen and restroom area with a very small open space for safely gathering in groups. Rather than taking it down and starting over, they intend to repurpose the current building into a workshop and storage space, adding an overhead door and changing out part of one exterior wall to an interior wall with 2 doorways. The new interior wall and doors will extend the current space to reconfigure the office, kitchen, restrooms, and enlarge their meeting space for safer food preparation, dining, and social gatherings and activities. The enlarged building will also serve as a severe weather shelter, which as it is now is not large enough to safely social distance.
Okay, so has there been any changes or estimates or designs?
Yes.
So what
David,
we're
would you like
doing,
to introduce yourself?
I'm Dave Merrill. I'm the director of the building committee for Leisure Lake.
Yes, and Dave did send last Friday updated drawings and estimates, and I don't know. I don't know if I gave those to Luann, to be honest. But I could
I didn't
certainly.
see them.
Dave sent a copy to me, but I think I'm the only one. that-
Okay, I think we kind of forgot about getting that to all of you.
Basically, in our last
Do you want to see these?
budget
Yes, please.
estimate,
What copies, please?
the bid was $580,000. That included a full basement, which we just can't afford that. Our match would have been beyond what we're capable of raising in the short term or probably the long term. So I had somebody re-quoted. We're back to a 40 by 72. I had on my drawing a 70-foot building, but they're their post frame buildings come on to 72. This was a builder out of Tipton that quoted it in a very short time frame. So we've eliminated the basement, we've enlarged the upper room, if you will, to include room for utilities and things up there that we otherwise would have put in the basement. So beyond that, eliminating the basement eliminates the tornado shelter or storm shelter at this time. I've looked into a lot of freestanding tornado shelters, and that's probably the route we go, either with this funds if it permits it, but probably at a later date.
Yeah, I think it'll have to be a later date
Yeah.
because it's not attached.
Yeah.
So did you have any cost on the standing room shelter?
29,000 will get us a shelter that houses per FEMA's recommendations of 5 square foot per person. It'll house 44 people. Now, they say the maximum capacity is 70. So if a tornado sheltered, right, excuse me, if a tornado is actually coming, I think you're gonna be able to cram a few more people in there than every 5 square foot. Long-term, we'd like to, rather than put one huge shelter here, possibly put this size one here and maybe another one over in the beach area or on the other side of the lake.
That'd be a good idea.
I think that'd be,
Brought it up even more than that if you, I know there's other companies that do
Yeah.
smaller sizes, but
right,
it'd be nice to have them in a closer location.
yeah. And so we'll probably be after grant money for those in the future, as well as we'll be talking to you possibly about a tornado siren out there.
So this building, is it on a slab or is it?
Yes, it's just slab. And it'll connect to the existing building like it needs to. The only concern I have right now is we offset this to put a overhead door into the existing building because it was framed there for an overhead door. But by offsetting it this far, down here requires an awful lot of dirt work because this starts to go down a hill. So we may move this back here a few feet, but that'll be in the final, once we get a good site plan and get on with that. If we eliminate that overhead door, we'll put one in the building, so.
So if I understand that right, Fisher or Matt or somebody, tell me that what Jackson County doing is just saying, yes, we will back the application for the grant. Is that basically what we're doing?
Yes, and you're approving to be the applicant, so you're the pass through it, and Matt can explain a little more in detail.
Correct, so to be eligible for CDBG funds, they need a county or a city to be the
Right.
applicant,
Okay,
and that's what the county.
then how much liability do we have, or how much paperwork, or who controls the money, I should say? Who controls the funds that were generated by Leisure Lake? And who controls the funds that from the grant?
So we could set it up, how we usually would set it up if a city was doing like a sewer project, standard like we see. When a payment request comes in from the contractor, that would be broken out, the percentages, if 80%'s the CDBG grant, 20%'s the local match from Leisure Lake. Each draw would be broken out that way. It would come to the county for approval. You guys would sign off on that. That would be submitted to the state. The state funds would come back into the county, and then the county would probably release a check to the contractor, I think is how you probably want to set that up. So,
And what happens to the matching funds? Does that still come to the county also? Because we'll be writing those checks also for their 20%?
I think for tracking purposes, we can talk about that, but it might be, does the county want it to or not?
Well, I guess I don't know. I guess, I don't know how Lisa feels about it, but it seems like there's a fair amount of paperwork going with it. And how was it normally done? I guess I hear a lot of probably. There's probably.
With this COVID money, usually we do
Yeah.
not get, usually it's a county or a city applying for a sewer project or a water tower project, and so that the city's got the local funds, you know, you're not really dealing so much with an outside.
I guess we look at it and maybe look, I don't know, tell me if I'm wrong with this. You look at it as an audit standpoint from a state or somebody saying, hey, where did these come from? What did you do with it? How did you expend them? You know, somebody's got to
That's the
answer,
question.
somebody's got to answer questions to the dudes that come in here and say.
To me, it seems like that, whatever you've raised should come into the pot.
In a lump sum.
Yes.
And then just be held.
And what about the overrun? Ain't there always 20% overrun?
I don't know. Dave said
Well-
that these seemed high on some of the things, but I,
Well, one of the things in there, it shows a 6-foot high concrete wall all the way around this thing.
Right.
And because of the elevation,
No, that's just what they put. So that seems excessive.
For that purpose, I like that, because basically what I found out since then, you could almost put that 6-foot high wall, you can build it cheap as you can build it with lumber. And it would be a lot more secure if somebody was in there and, you know, but.
They also, in his estimate, it's broke down here. He had like 28 or 9,000 in there for water and sewer. You know, part of the problem with these bids is they've never seen the site. There's no specifics on finishes or things like that, so they just bid it high enough to kind of cover.
Well,
Cover
sure,
whatever.
they have to do that
Sure.
if they're gonna, if you're signing a contract or whatever it might be, yeah, I mean, as far as.
Well, the way I understand it, as we get this money, then we have to send out for 3 different bids, is that correct? So there'll be future bids.
No, I think it's gotta be public bid for that.
I was just gonna say, it's gonna meet our,
It's over.
if Jackson County is then we would have to have all these public
If we're
hearings. and-
administrating it, we would
That's right.
have to get.
That's right. Then we have to have, we'd have to go out for public bid. We'd have to have these public hearings. Yes.
I mean, you have, yeah, if somebody's gonna be a general contractor, if you looked at the breakdown of a lot of this, I mean, yeah, you have an organization over there. Are you renting dumpsters? Are you doing $3,000 worth of cleanup, or is some of your organization gonna do that, or, you know, who knows?
Well, as I understand it, we're not allowed to use volunteers under this program. Is that correct?
oh yeah, you can certainly use volunteers.
Oh, yeah, so, yeah.
Well, to, maybe for like some cleanup,
Yeah.
the actual construction needs. to
No,
right,
yeah,
right,
yeah.
right, yeah.
Right. Liability wise.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do as much as we're allowed to do. We've got plenty of people willing. So if it's cleanup or something
Yeah,
like that.
I certainly, I'm in favor of backing the project. If you can get a $400,000 building for 70,000, I would certainly think that's a great addition to Leisure Lake for one
Yes.
thing, which is, to me, is up and coming somewhat. I just don't want, I want to make sure that the ducks are in a row, I guess,
Right.
that everybody's comfortable.
I guess, Lisa, I want to know what you're comfortable with. You're the one that will deal with the auditor and all of that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I just, again, that my other question in looking at this and not that we have the same scope of project. But are you looking for one contractor for this entire project, or are you looking at one contractor with different contracts?
It'd be bid as
As
one
one.
general.
So you'd have a general and he'd sub up bed, like, yeah, that would make sense.
So who's going to prepare the RFP?
To send it out,
Mhm.
usually an architect does, but that might be something we need to work out. Maybe ECI and Leisure Lake can work through. And make sure it meets county specs. Would that be your engineer that would review that then, or your county attorney, or who?
Well, no, county attorney want review
Look at
the
specs.
specs for the building. I guess, I don't know. I mean, we have specs for our repair shops that we put up. But we also have a assistant engineer that may,
Our assistant county engineer,
and he engineered
Alex
the,
might be able to.
he engineered the building in Earlville.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I knew I didn't know if it was Dubuque County's attorney or
Yeah,
engineer, or if it was Jackson County's that helped in the Earlville
He's-
building.
Yeah, well,
We share with Buchanan County, isn't it?
yeah, but I think, I'm sure I think Anthony, well.
I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, we wanna
Yes.
try to make this work for everybody, and we don't want a lot of misconception of who's doing what, I guess.
In terms of the money, then you prefer that we put our matching and give that to the county, okay?
So then we can
Whatever the
say that this was
protocol
the
would be.
project.
Yeah.
And this is who we paid for the project. So, yeah, I do prefer that.
I
Instead
mean,
of an
it has
80-20
to be
split.
documented for the grant.
Mhm.
Sure.
Yeah, because the state will come in and audit this too.
Yes, right. Yes, we are very subject to audit here. That's been our middle name here lately.
Well, you get
Yes.
two of them, because like the CDBG, so the
Yeah.
Iowa Economic Development Authority, they do an audit, and then you get.
Yeah.
Then you get your own county audit, so it's.
Yes,
No.
yes, yes.
Well, we can certainly check with Alex to see if that's something that he'd be willing to do for us.
So is time of the essence, the question I would have now, you mentioned March 15th. Does all of this have to be done by then, or do you apply for the grant first to see if we get it?
I think all this is to say we're gonna.
Preliminary, yeah.
We just need the estimates to be able to apply to know how much we're requesting.
Okay.
We don't even know if we're getting.
Yeah,
And
you don't want to do too much
Yeah.
legwork.
yeah, and you can't.
I just
do
want to
any
make sure that we're all in the
physical work until you
same
have
time
it,
frame. That was
so.
my only.
Yeah.
Because once we find out if they're awarded, there's another 30 to 60 day environmental kind of publication stuff we have to do, so that would probably be more when we want to do some more of this legwork to get all our
Okay.
ducks in a row by the time we get release of funds.
Okay.
We'll be good to go.
Isn't there a completion date?
Yes, May 31st of 2023 is the
So-
completion. date.
So timing, so we have to have it done
Mhm.
pretty much in less than a year, so.
Well, I think
Yes.
once you get all this,
Yeah.
this rigmarole taken care of.
Right.
Construction goes fairly quick on a.
Sure.
It should be a lot easier than everything leading up to it.
If you
Yeah.
can get the steel.
Yeah.
Steel's not really the big issue, I don't think.
Really?
When I ordered, they said, don't order it till you get your trusses and they'll be here because then they'll cut it to exact length.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
that's what the lumberyard told me.
And we have, as a building committee, anytime you have a large committee, you get varying opinions. Some people would prefer siding on the outside versus tin or steel. Some people want shingles instead of a tin roof, so we have to
Hash things
do
out.
that, yeah. And we have to figure out colors and finishes inside and kind of get a list of what we want, and then there's a list of what we can afford.
Well, you're never gonna agree on all that.
I know.
That's
Yeah,
Okay, is there anything else that we need to do in the public hearing?
I'd make a motion to close the public hearing.
We have a motion and a second to close the public hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. Discussion possible action on the Leisure Lake Project CDBG grant.
So you're looking for a motion to proceed with the application, is that all
Yeah.
that is?
Mhm.
That's what we're doing.
Make that motion.
Have a second.
A motion and a second to proceed with the grant application for the CDBG grant. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye, motion carried.
So we have another public hearing.
how long, assuming we get this grant, all the things you mentioned with public hearings and stuff, does that take months or?
No.
Couple of
These could all be
Couple
published at the
weeks.
same time, I believe, but you got 20, 10, 20. I don't know what. What is it?
I'm thinking
Four and
420.
20.
4 and 20.
420?
So no more than 20 days and no less than 4
Ah.
for the publication. So that's what that means.
I see,
Yeah.
very good.
As long as you time it so when the paper is going to be published.
That's right.
You can get it in the paper.
Yeah.
That's when they went to one paper a week, it made it a little more difficult for
Oh,
us.
Sure.
yeah.
Who is Leisure Lakes? Well, I guess it'd be off of Jackson County though, so
Huh?
I was wondering who Leisure Lakes newspaper would be,
Official,
since
I
it's
think
going
it's
through
ours.
Jackson County, it's.
It has to be
your
our
guys',
3
yeah.
official papers.
Very good.
Okay, thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you, Dean.
Thank you.
Are we still opening another public hearing here?
Yes.
Yeah.
9:35?
Mhm.
And that is for the Community Development Housing Needs Assessment.
Correct. So I will read through the list that is, we did share with, well, we shared with Mike, I believe. Did we share? I think we shared with all of you.
It was shared
Mike
with all of us.
approved
I
it.
passed it on a little bit,
Yeah.
got some input.
Okay.
And I think you changed a few things.
Yeah, I did, just a couple things. So I'll just read through the community development and housing needs of LMI persons, those 11. Continue to support programs for housing rehabilitation for low and moderate income residents. Expand childcare opportunities within the county daytime and evening programs. Continue to support programs offered for low income and elderly residents. Undertake efforts to increase recreational opportunities and safe public gathering spaces of LNI citizens. And that is a new one. Rehabilitate existing housing, provide for acquisition, demolition where rehabilitation is not feasible. Promote construction of affordable housing, support wastewater improvements in the county, maintain and improve streets and transportation, rehabilitate owner-occupied housing, encourage home ownership in the county, and continue to provide supportive services to lower income residents. The other community development housing needs is the same as the above, so we won't read through that. The plan or potential activities to address housing and community needs. Continue discussions and cooperation with Iowa DOT and others in transportation projects. Apply for Cdbg CD funds for expansion of public facilities, which is key to this project. Apply to AIDA housing program for owner occupied rehabilitation program. Work with state and local development organization and private concerns to locate new businesses and expand existing industry to create employment opportunities. Maintain adequate utility rates to ensure system maintenance. Continue to participate in Eastern Iowa Regional Housing Authority and work as a community to improve appearance of the county in general. And this particular document will need to be signed and then attached to the back of your meeting minutes.
I have a question.
Okay.
Maintain and improve streets. What does that mean?
Maintaining and improve, it's just what it is. It's
They're
nothing
private
fancy.
streets, they're not public streets.
I think this is kind of a countywide
Yeah.
kind of.
Okay, so it's not specific to
No.
Leisure Lake.
No, it's just,
No, this is for Jackson County,
Okay,
sorry.
I thought this was specific to.
No,
Leisure
this
Lake.
is for Jackson
Okay.
County, so it's a generalized needs
Okay,
assessment
sorry.
of the community as a whole.
Thank you for clarifying. that, 'cause I'm-
Sorry.
Are we doing this just because we need to update?
it's part of the CDBG application, and these have to be within about a year of application, so the county's was outdated, so yeah, it's just an update.
So this would cover like if Andrew wants a new sidewalk or something and goes for a grant.
But then we do each city, because we were just in Preston last night and did.
Oh, yeah,
So
So
it's
they're
kind
doing
of
it
each-
by
So this
city,
just county.
right,
Yeah.
right. If you're going to apply for the funds. essentially.
And you would administer the grant,
Mhm.
and what would be the fee for that administering it?
It's 20,000 and that's built into the amount that we're requesting.
And it's the same amount for Leisure Lake project.
Yeah, that's what the 430 includes.
Okay.
Mhm.
This is basically a formality, and we're updating our spectrum of what we want for the county, basically.
Right.
And most everything I read or heard there, we certainly want to keep moving forward on, so. We're still in the public hearing.
Yep, we
correct?
still are.
If there's no further comments, I would make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to close the public hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried.
Make a motion to approve.
You're approving the action on the CDH and a Leisure Lake Pavillion project grant?
Yes.
I would second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. Proceed.
Thank you.
That's it, right?
Appreciate it.
Um, So what's the 430,000?
That's the total project cost.
For Leisure Lake.
I thought you were
Leisure
applying for a
Lake.
$358,000 CDBG.
The 358,000 is the money from the CDBG funds.
That's
We're
was
requesting.
So what's the
matching-
430?
That's plus the matching,
That's
plus the
plus- yeah.
70 matching
Yep.
funds,
The 72.
72 matching funds they have.
It's actually more than that. Their 72,000 isn't exactly 20%, but that is actually not a CD rule that it has to be 20%. It just can't, they won't pay for 100% of any project. And so we kind of use 20% as our guideline for every project that we've been working on, but they are within range that it's not.
So actually, the grant then is for 430,000, not 358.
No, the grant itself
Was 358.
minus the 72,000 is 358,000.
Because that's what I put in my minutes, that you're applying for a $358,000 grant, CDBG grant. That's correct.
With matching funds of 72,000.
Yes. Yeah, everyone. state that.
Or if you just want to attach our
30.
9 questions that
How
merge
about,
too.
can you send that to me, what you have, and I'll,
Yeah.
okay, if you
Oh,
would do
yeah,
that,
yeah,
that would be
yeah,
great. Thank you.
absolutely. Yeah, I sent it to Luann. Sorry, I didn't send it to you. I will send it to you.
Just so I get it clear, so we know.
You
that we
bet.
just-
Yep, no problem.
And Luann
Thank
has
you.
been off the last 2 days.
Oh,
Her grandson in Coralville is
okay.
ill, so she's over
Aw.
watching him while
For baby.
her daughter-in-law's a doctor and she's working, so.
Oh.
Luann called me this morning and said, I won't be there again.
No
today."
worries.
So,
That sounds good. I can certainly send that. Any other questions? You can always call or
Thank
email
you.
me.
I just, yeah,
Do you have my number? Actually, I don't even know my number.
You're using 20% as a guideline, but where? I mean, if you're off by, if you're only at 15%, well, that's still gonna work.
They. I mean, they.
They'll
haven't
look
said-
at it, yeah. So, and the hard part is they still have to go and get bid, so we're all kind of hypothetical right now.
And I really feel like if they really like the project, they would fund it. And I think they would really like this one.
It's just, to me, it sounds like it as a whole, just thinking about it, it's a big enough community that they need something like this. And if you've got that big a percentage, that's low to moderate income, you think they'd score high enough that
Yeah,
they would be eligible.
that's what I would agree.
Really up the community itself, and I've told that community before, in their annual meetings or their weekly, monthly, whatever, I've been there to a couple of them. You gotta take care of your own, you're a private community here, so if you have a situation that needs to be cleaned up, take care of it.
Yeah,
You know, I mean,
yeah.
this is what it's all about, it's your community,
Well,
so.
they must have listened.
Yeah, well, they've been doing a better job, they're the complaints we used to have, and, property values, you see property values escalate over there, so.
So you said there's only 158 permanent residents there? That seems low.
Whatever's on there, that's the permanent, the people that live there year round. There's not a lot more, but there are more than that when you
There's
consider
320,
the people who have a home there, but they only go there in the summer. Those people can't be included in the
in the survey.
survey.
Because
We actually had to redo it because of that. We did it once, including everyone, and we had to redo it with just the permanent residents. It took a while to get that number too.
okay. At this time, Bjorn, we're gonna recess. This time we'll reconvene and we're being joined by Shelley White, our budget guru.
don't know that I say
To open the
that.
public hearing on the maximum property tax resolution.
We did lower the general basic fund is staying at 3.5. That's the max that we can levy for that. The general supplemental, we did raise by, I believe it was 45 cents for accounting for county insurance, county liability insurance to cover that, and for moving all of the health insurances to the general supplemental. And then we lowered the Pioneer Cemetery by, I believe it was half a cent. So it was, the cemetery levy was cut in half, but they still have a healthy balance in that fund, so. In the rural services, it stayed the same. The levy rate stayed the same. The valuations went down a little bit. So we're getting a little bit less dollars in the rural services fund, but not much to make it much of a difference, so. And that leaves all of the funds that are taxes at the acceptable level that we like to keep it at between 20 and 25%.
Reserve.
Hmm?
Reserve.
Yes, in reserve, yes. So that gets us through the first 3 to 4 months of the next fiscal year before taxes start coming in. I'm not sure what else you want me to talk about. Any
So overall,
questions?
Shelley, what's our overall increase in levy?
0.99, almost 10 cents. 0.99, 0.099996.
It's a lot of
Go ahead.
nines.
Go ahead.
Does that include our bond referendum?
Yes, yes.
So the
So-
explanation for some of that would be the difference between the mental health levy and
Being
the,
eliminated.
yeah, and then adding the 29 cents instead of 32 for the
Yes.
bond referendum, and then just basically expenses, inflation, whatever it may be. So all things considered, 10 cents is pretty minimal.
When you look at it up and down, the way that this budget year was, as you said, we took out mental health down. We had to increase, for the potential was 32, which would be up. Now we're down to 29 cents. So this has been a very fluid, fluctuating levy and such. And maybe, do you know it, Shelley, what's our overall budget? Is it like 17 million? Do you have that? So what are we asking from our taxpayers? Is it 17 million?
Total taxes,
Total taxes.
8,137,439
So that's for all funds.
for all funds.
So
For all tax funds.
To generate reserve from state fund.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so if you think about 10 cents and $8 million, I think that's very good.
So just so you understand, it's 10 cents per $1,000 evaluation minus rollback.
Yes.
Minus your credits, and yeah, there's
Right.
just, yeah, there's other factors that factor into that.
So that's before the rollbacks?
That's after the roll. Well, your tax after the rollback.
Your taxable valuation is what that 10 cents would be based on.
Okay, actual.
So it's
Yeah.
just
Yes.
rough numbers. If it's 300,000 valuation, your rollback is 50%, your tax on 150,000, 10 cents. So it's $15. I'm figuring.
Correct.
And we're still in the public hearing, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Any other?
So what was that number again? 8 million, how much?
$8,137,439.
Okay. And the rest of our budget money comes from
Revenues?
State credits, well, no, that's included,
state and federal.
state and federal.
Intergovernmental.
Grants, intergovernmental. Payment in lieu of taxes,
And that's another 10 million.
yes, we're hoping.
Well,
Everything
budget,
goes
if you
according to
consider what
budget.
comes next door from their funding sources. then-
Sales tax.
Yeah, sales tax and.
I mean, our budget is usually around the 17, 18 million, and with our reserve, it's usually 21, 22 million.
Right.
Yeah.
And we're hanging pretty close there from the last, actually, when levy went down last year also too, if I remember right,
Yes.
Yes, it did.
Yes.
last 3 years, man.
It's And pretty steady for the last 2 years.
And the offset is the increase of value.
We didn't have it. Part of the problem is we didn't
Yes.
have increase in value this year.
I'm
We had a
surprised we
decrease in
didn't,
value.
I'm surprised we didn't with the ag when some property was selling for $20,000
Catch up.
Yeah.
an acre.
Takes 2 to 3 years.
We're a year behind on our taxes.
Yeah,
so-
yeah,
And then they consider a 5 years for the ag land, and they consider sale price, of course, and comp sales and commodity prices and whatnot. So
Ag land is based on productivity. And that, yeah, takes a while to catch up, so. And just like Mike says, they factor that all in, and that's all done at the state. So basically, you know, the hands are tied here at the local county level.
We take what they give us.
okay.
I would make a motion to close the public hearing if there's no further questions.
Second.
A motion, a second to close the public hearing on the max property tax resolution. All those in favor? Aye, motion carried. And Shelley, I say this every year, but thank you so much for all your efforts. I know if you were any different, your head would look like mine.
It's gray, so you know.
Well, gray's better than bald,
Well, that's-
but your efforts are greatly appreciated. You and Shelley and for you and Lisa and the crew over there.
Becky, yeah.
Yep. It's a big, big job.
We'd be lost without you.
Sure.
So with that being said, since you've closed the public hearing, then today I would ask you to approve resolution number 872-03-01-2022 of the maximum property tax resolution for the general county services and rural county services for fiscal year 2022-2023 as presented.
Second. I guess
You want
I
to
would
move
make a
it
motion.
first?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second on the resolution for the maximum property tax or dollars. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried.
And I also need a motion today to set the public hearing of March 22nd, 2022 at 10 a.m. for the public hearing for the proposed fiscal year 2023 budget.
So moved.
second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried.
And with that, we are done with that.
Thanks a lot, Shelley.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
This time we'll recess till we're joined by Roger Stewart. This time we'll reconvene. I always forget that. Reconvene and we're being joined by Roger Stewart and we'll have you come up, Mark. And Matt, also Matt. You brought along the new president of the bank. Good morning.
Good morning. I have a guest this morning. And my guest this morning is Leo McGarry, who is the new president of Macocata State Bank. So he is here this morning.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, I recognized him from this picture in the paper.
Thank you. What can we do for you?
Well, I guess we had a few questions, specifically on PMW. And the contracts that we had, and then they were supposed to sign over their insurance and their house and I don't know what all. But we never got any confirmation that that was done.
And we can send stuff, I guess we have it in the past, but if Lisa wants it, we can.
The board asked me if things were finalized, and I said,
I guess our question was, should we have something here on record if it's if it's Jackson County revolving loan fund? Shouldn't we have something in-house on record? I guess that's what my question was anyway.
And we should, in past, we haven't, and Roger can probably, in past, we haven't from when Jerry was in place till I took over. Like I said, I'm more than willing to do that.
I
if
guess,
that's what you
know,
want.
since it was, I mean, since we kind of went back and forth on that loan, what we were gonna do and what we weren't gonna do. And they indicated what they were going to have as their security. And Lisa, we've talked several times and we hadn't gotten anything saying that, yes, he had signed on the dotted line and everything was taken care of. So we just thought,
Yeah, I
Or would- or would
have
you
no
like-
way of knowing, yeah.
Would you like us to bring a paper file down? I mean, what's easier?
We assume you had all this that was required?
Yeah, the only thing we're waiting on is that person, we have a different life insurance policy. We're still working to get the other one transferred over because we're not gonna release the one we have until we get
The new one.
it correct. So.
That's just it. They asked me about some of these loans and honestly, I don't know. We don't get anything from you
Mhm.
people, so I couldn't answer their questions.
And like I said, I'm willing, because we have, you know, I can bring you this if you want this in the file, or if you want electronic, we can do electronic. It's-
So I guess, Lisa, what would be the best or the worst scenario if you got audited on the revolving loan fund and they want to look at your documentation?
We have nothing.
we have nothing.
So then we need something to say here.
And we do
Or-
get audited
or
and they
go
do
up
ask
there.
questions. I mean, I think we've had to contact you before in the past. I mean, the state auditors do look at that and they want to know if people are behind or, you know, what the status of these
Well, of
loans
course
are.
they should.
Yeah, so yes, they are subject to audit. We do have to answer those questions and we don't know. So we refer them to MAG and ECIA.
So
I
do you
think-
do you have an insurance policy on him too, besides his own? I mean, are you? I
The
guess it's called-
securities,
Well, it's called insurable interest. I mean, if you're loaning somebody money, you can take an insurance policy out on them and pay the premiums to cover your butt.
We don't, like I said, we took an assignment of the ones he
Okay.
already has in place.
I mean, that would be another way to just figure that amount right into the loan, and the interest is that way you're paying it and you know it's being paid. And if something happens, you're covered. As opposed to saying, well, he's had it, but maybe he missed 4 payments and they canceled it.
We get,
don't know
we
that.
get notice of that, then, when we're an assignee,
Okay.
same as like on the real estate insurance, if they ever let that lapse. We get notice right away that their policy was canceled. And so then we follow up to see what's going on.
Well, one thing I'd say is that we do have the real estate mortgage in place on his property that we didn't have before. Definitely,
The personal property.
personal property
Right.
where he lives. We have that in place.
see, and that's the thing that because we talked about several different things we were going to have as
Yeah.
securities and we had no list of anything. So we didn't know if it was the house and if it was insurance, if it was how we were secured.
And like, I'm more than happy, and Lisa and I can work it out. It was just, we've been going on the way it's been and, you know,
It is-
Times have changed.
and we're more than happy to supply that. So
Good.
we can-
So have we dispersed all of the funds that have come before the board? Or are we still waiting for something to happen?
In regard to this.
No, not this one, another loan.
There's two we're still waiting
Okay.
for construction to finish, and the other one we're waiting for equipment to come in.
Okay,
That's still with backlog. They put their down payment down, but the equipment has not come in yet. So
isn't that
there's
crazy? That's gotta be, how many months ago? 6, 8 months?
probably,
Yeah,
and they just contacted me. It sounds like it's getting close.
okay. Wow.
So
Yeah, I heard that from the butcher.
Okay,
And have you, I mean, I'm on it, but they haven't discussed it lately. But together we build, we kind of set aside 300,000.
Yes.
But they have not said, they've done pretty well raising funds, so I'm not sure they're going to need that.
I talked to Dean before I came over here,
Okay.
just a few minutes ago. And probably you know this already, that's up for bids now.
Yep.
Yep.
It's up for bids and they may want a letter of commitment somehow, some way. I'm not sure that they've ever gotten that. So that the 300,000 is there and you're saving it.
Actually, they know that. And if they don't, it's not because they haven't been told.
I was gonna say, I checked with Shelley, we got 563 in there, so.
So the money is there,
it
560.
is there, and I believe it's in the minutes that the county
Yes.
had committed.
Yeah.
Yes,
the
okay.
300,000. So I mean, we didn't pass it by resolution, we did pass it by motion.
That's good.
Yeah.
So obviously they may use the money that is there already first, but they will know more after the bids come in.
Oh, sure.
When they want to take the $300,000, but everybody's counting on that. You are and they are.
Yeah, I think.
Is that part of their total funds that they're showing?
Yeah.
When you say amounts raised?
Okay, yeah. Yeah. And in regard to PMW, they're very current, their payments are totally current.
That's great.
And again, I should emphasize the amount that's available is $563,000, right?
Yeah, minus the 300,000 committed, so
Yeah.
really 263.
So basically I got 263. So I'd say that, probably things are looking fine as far as, I think we'd say that we have one loan that may be a little behind, but we're well secured. Is that right?
Correct, and he's been communicating with me, he's hoping things will pick up, but he's actually making a little bit additional on his monthly payment right now, so
And
positive through the past 2 years we've been through.
Well, it's been a difficult couple of years.
Mhm.
Sure has.
and then I do have, I don't know if you have this, but I'll give this to you, Jack, Chair. This is maybe you have this history in regard to what's been done over the years.
Sure,
That's a complete history. Maybe you have that.
We've had it in the past,
Yeah.
yes, so.
So that's for you and share it with the other board members, and that it's kind of interesting to go back and to see where we've been
Mhm.
in regard to the different ways we've helped the county. So the end result here is that whatever you want,
Yeah.
we'll provide to you.
I'll have a conversation with the board and see what they would like, and then I'll be communicating with Matt, and we'll figure it out and
Yeah.
get it done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You look at this and it's amazing that $1 million loan that Pacific Coast Feathers got. Just look what it's done.
I hate to say this, but this will be my last meeting as chairman. I am going to resign from the board.
No, we're not gonna let you.
Sorry about that.
It's in the fine print of your contract. you can't decide.
And Leo is going to take my place.
Oh, okay.
And that's part of the reason that,
You brought him along.
but the procedure, of course, is that when there is one application that's out there or pending. The procedure would be that when the board gets together, when the bank board gets together, then they will elect a chairman. So Leo is taking my place, but they will elect a chairman. And that chairman will work with Matt. And we'll see how that all happens. But I want to thank the board for your cooperation over the years. I've been doing this for 30 years. And I want to thank you. And I also want to really emphasize the people on the board, the other bankers who've done a really nice job of bringing out issues that are important as far as security in the loans and making sure that we try to be fair with people. There's Paul Peterson, Don Green, Brian. And there's a
US Banks, Michelle Reedy, and then Clinton National is
Milner, isn't it?
yeah, Mark.
Mark Milner. And so they've all been good in regard to when we get together, and the procedure that we've done in the past years is we've brought the applicant in to talk with us. We just don't look at a piece of paper. If they want to come in and make a presentation personally along with the application itself, we welcome that, so that all the bank people have someone that they know. And so we try to do that.
I would just say that I think it was a wonderful system that's what we did was develop the local board to review these. Because certainly saying on this side of the table, we don't know all of that. And I really commend you, Raj, and I've really respected your comments and what you've done for the revolving loan fund and for Jackson County. And I understand you're retiring. I'll be retiring at the end of this year.
Yeah.
So, but thank you very, very much for what you've done for us and for Jackson County, because you know, sometimes we really don't. We don't understand the banking aspects of it.
Yeah.
You do, and your
Yeah.
board members do, and we appreciate your input and have always done that.
Things do go wrong.
Yeah.
And they can go wrong at any time.
I know.
But we've been so far. We've been pretty.
And, you know,
fortunate.
we all have this, you know, the economy right now, the hurdles that everybody's facing.
Yeah,
One of our contractors for the new jail said his stuff might get here in August or September.
yeah,
And so, you know, and then next door, you know, waiting for steel
yeah.
and then David told us this morning that all the steel that we've used in our bridges, was it Google, Amazon
Yeah.
has them all bought up ahead. So
Yeah.
they ship them direct to Amazon. We don't even have a chance to buy any of that. So
And
It's-
Dean said a little something in regard to that to me this morning about getting delivery. Things we need, you know, they need, Dean, and together with them.
yeah, it's gonna, we're hoping we'll be done in May of 23, but who knows?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I was hoping we'd be done by December 31st of 22, but that didn't happen either. So,
Again,
I would
that-
certainly echo that too, Roger, for the short time that I've been here, the work that you've done, if I've ever had a question, you were more than able to answer my questions and more than willing to answer my questions, so we expect the same out of you, so.
You know, it's nice to be able to have somebody that can answer the questions that you need answered.
Yeah. Well,
And you and your board have been very upfront with us.
tried to be.
Well, there's a lot of expertise on that, you know, I mean, we go through a lot of different things in a week or a day. but
Huge
it's-
scope of
When you have the
business too.
expertise in this area, that
Yeah.
helps a lot.
Well, that, again, people that served on the board with me had great input, and it wasn't just one person, there was.
Well, we realized you carried in the message from the board, but you did it in a very professional and educational way.
And we appreciate that when we wanted to tear into, you took that very well.
Sometimes you had to settle Matt down.
Well, Matt's been great to work with. Yeah, and he'll get you the stuff.
I have no problem with that. Yeah.
Great.
Anything else?
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
That's it. Thank you. And nice
Congratulations,
meeting you.
Roger.
Enjoy your retirement.
Congratulations to you and welcome
Nice
aboard.
meeting you.
Yes, thanks.
Congratulations. Roger.
Thank you. Thank
Well
you.
done.
Yeah, thank you.
Enjoy yourself.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Yeah,
everything,
you bet.
Roger.
You bet.
Nice matching you guys.
This is more of a congratulations. I love it
And
when
you
people get
too.
retired. Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
You have a good day.
Yeah, you too, guys. Great yard today, yeah.
That's snow.
Yeah.
Shady part.
Are we in session yet?
We are still in.
We're gonna
session.
recess. We'll reconvene and we're being joined by Lynn Bobes, our Director of Services.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Jack and I attended the monthly regional governing board meeting yesterday in Scott County, so I'll just give a little recap of that. David Farmer gave his region fiscal agent report, and basically it's very similar, I would say, to last month in that the projected fund balance as of right now for the end of the fiscal year, June 30th of 2022, is still about 80%. Some of the delay in getting that spent down is due to agencies hiring workforce for some of the new programs that the governing board approved for the money to be available as of January 1st of this year. But moving forward with that is not as quickly as we had hoped it would be. But I think David is pretty certain that the region will be over the 40% limit on June 30th. If that is the case, then the state will determine that they will hold back some of the money that they will send to us in the third quarter
of fiscal year 23. So if you remember, DOM will get the reports by December 1st. They'll look at regions' fund balances, and then any regions that are over 40% will not receive their full state payment for that next quarter, which would be the quarter starting January 1st of 2023. So stay tuned every month. I'm sure he'll have an update for us. The board had an opportunity yesterday to get a report from TVA Media. This is the company that the board has approved to enter into a contract for a year to do marketing for the region's services. There's a concern on behalf of the board and the management team and everyone that we need to continue to get the word out as far as what's available for people experiencing a mental health crisis. So they did send a Jack. I don't know if you had a chance to see that, but
I got it. It was here, so I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah. Lori did forward to the board members some of the material that TVA Media has pulled together that will be put out on social media. Some of it will be made available to the radio. Basically, they're going to touch every type of communication there is my understanding between now and the end of the contract. Lori talked to the board a little bit and got the approval for our region to agree to participate in the statewide contract with Solution Point Plus. This is that company of the two law enforcement officers, Jesse and Joe, that some of you saw last fall. They will be a part of that contract to benefit our region. They will actually be hosting a CIT training, crisis intervention training for law enforcement in our region in September. They have targeted dates the week of September 19th. And then in addition to that, there will be an opportunity for officers to attend trainings in other regions if we have more officers that need training. This participation in the statewide contract is also in addition to the region itself contracting with Solution Point Plus. If you remember, they will be coming, I believe it's April 20th to the 22nd, to do an evaluation, talking to law enforcement agencies, emergency response agencies, to help identify what the needs for training are. And then we'll submit a final proposal of what kind of training they could offer to address those identified needs or gaps.
And when I asked them, they are going to contact all the police chiefs and all of the sheriffs to see what their needs are with even, the smaller communities and everybody to see. And they're also going to be offering the training at the Law Enforcement Academy in Des Moines.
Yeah, through the statewide contract, they will be doing 4 trainings at the Law Enforcement Academy. Currently, it was being done by a person that was trained out of Dallas County. But she is the CEO for that region, Heart of Iowa, and just does not have time to continue to do that training, so.
Should probably include the park rangers in on that too.
Yes, actually, that's
They
a
do
good,
assist.
yeah. I'll jump ahead to something about the stakeholders meeting that you should have all got an email on. The schedule for Thursday, March 24th. It'll be held out at the Hurstville Interpretive Center. For law enforcement, the hospitals, some of the providers, the court system, just to kind of provide an overview. We haven't done this for a couple of years, meet some of the staff, but the reason I mention that now, Larry, is when I called out to reserve the room, I was talking to Tony. I had mentioned to him that they may want to participate in that meeting as well, but you're right, the county conservation staff that are law enforcement officials of sort certainly are welcome to participate in any of that.
Is that noon until 2?
Yes.
Okay, that's the one I just put in. Did you just get that yesterday?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that was at Hurstville.
I think that was on the attachment.
Maybe I didn't read it.
When we were looking for a space, that was really probably the.
I assume like all these training courses or these, what's coming up there that's available to law enforcement, that they're well aware of this in advance, so they can, figure in time or personnel or whatever may call for.
Yeah, as far as the region's contract, I'm gonna ask Lori this afternoon when she thinks that Jesse and Joel will start communicating with local law enforcement to get, that's just a meeting in April, to talk to them, however that's gonna be done. I don't know if it's gonna be virtual or if it'll be in person going out to the 5 counties. as far as the one in September, that's a part of the statewide contract, and I assume they have not done any outreach yet to get those scheduled until they know the contract was signed. And that probably wouldn't be happening until sometime here in March. So the turnaround is somewhat short, because you're right, there has to be obviously some significant scheduling, because it's a 5-day, 40-hour training all done in 1 week. So it pulls officers off the street and off the roads for one.
We
full
did
week.
talk yesterday, the management team is going to look at what type of stipend they may be able to give to law enforcement agencies, like the sheriff, if they have to pay overtime for somebody to fill in while they're at the training and stuff, because it's, it's a pretty
Yeah, not a
extensive
whole lot
training.
amounts to, but that, 40 hours is a lot of hours.
Mhm.
And to have, I mean, we certainly can't have half the staff.
Right.
You know.
Mhm. So that will be one of the benefits, depending on what they identify as the needs when they come to the 5 counties within our region for our region contract. We know it'll be operated within the region in September. We know there's other available dates, but not located that close to us necessarily. And then possibly there will be other trainings within the region within the next year or two. I think the proposal, the sample proposal that Solution Point gave to the region was actually extended out to 3 years. You can choose 1, 2, or 3 years. So that would afford for ongoing training and over time, give everybody more of an access to it. So the other conversations that were held yesterday, Robert Young talked a little bit about as they enter into contracting with providers for some of the existing crisis services. If you remember, they contract with local providers within the 5 counties. And then there are some new providers, especially in regards to children's services, and what those contracts might look like, and trying to standardize the contract and the content of them. 2 areas that they've identified for concern from some providers is, can they get reimbursed for occupancy, cost of overhead? And the other one is, some providers have been losing employees largely because of wages. So Robert Young has gathered some information primarily from the state of Iowa regarding comparable wages for the positions within the region. So they might be looking at some workforce payment changes. And then the only other thing I was going to mention, if you remember last month, we talked a little bit about Rhonda's house in DeWitt, the Peer Respite House, and how they're needing to relocate because Genesis will be taking back the house that they've been able to use. That conversation is ongoing. I would say there still needs to be language developed that's agreeable to attorneys, but then also to the board of directors for the region.
Is
So
that something the 5 counties could go together with ARPA funds and buy that house?
They're using it for a parking lot, I think. What did I hear?
Well, part of it's gonna be torn down and Genesis is gonna use it for a parking lot. I guess the thing that I don't normally sleep at those meetings, but I did not realize that it would only be able to have 4 people there at a time.
that was Todd's original plan, was to
I
expand
knew it,
the
the
beds.
existing place, but I thought he was gonna expand and have more available,
It's gonna expand by 1.
but, and then he's got a contract with the whole state of Iowa to provide peer support. And I'm thinking, okay, you get all these people coming from different parts of the state. I know it says for 7 days or 5 days or 6 days or whatever, but if you only have 5 people he can have, I thought it was 4. Yeah.
It's 4 people. He currently has 3 people in the house he's in right now.
Oh, okay.
That was not really cleared up
No,
yesterday.
I didn't hear that at all.
Well, when somebody asked how many beds he had, Nancy Nauman, is this an expansion? Nobody did respond back to her question, but he currently has 3 beds in the current house. And he's looking to expand and add 1 more bed.
So I just thought it was going to be bigger than that.
And
And that they would be able to house more individuals, but when he said 4 yesterday, I thought, God, if you get free from off the state, there's one place for somebody from our region. So
Yeah,
It just seems
I hope he
like-
makes it through this.
yeah,
It just seems like we have a facility or a wing we could use for something like that.
Yeah, amen.
yeah.
Yeah,
So,
that's right. It's just sitting there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's getting a new sprinkler system and probably a new well. Oh,
so that was it. That was my report. Did I miss anything? Would you like to add anything else or?
I don't, pretty much. I will tell you though, that there is certainly a lot of discussion.
Is there? Yeah. The other thing I need to mention is that, and David mentioned this, referenced it yesterday about the process in which the counties will need to use to send the fund balance in each respective county off to the region. It has to be there by midnight, June 30th. At one time previously, David was talking about wanting it there, like early June. I talked to Shelley this morning. She sent out the email about the budget amendments. We won't do anything with this one. We will wait until we hear what that process is, and then probably have to do a budget amendment to send that amount.
So,
Off to the
of
region.
course, I had to leave so I could get to do it in time for my meeting there. Did they set a time for all of the counties to get together before that?
No, quite honestly, that wasn't even mentioned.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so
Was
now
on
we're
our
getting kind
agenda,
of,
but I
down-
didn't know if they made any decisions.
no, really, they just took public comment and then closed the meeting. Now we're being March 1st. We're 4 months away from this transition to 100% state funding. So now we've got to get some of this stuff moving as far as what the procedure is going to be. And I don't think our 2080 agreement necessarily even affords for doing that right now.
I don't think it does.
No, so.
Because that's one of the things they said, we would have to change our
Change.
2080 agreement.
Mhm.
So do we get back that 40% fund balance? I mean, if we're over, or at least take it down to where it's supposed to be, can we, is that money supposed to?
Dream on.
You're gonna spend it.
Where are they
you
gonna
can
go
do
with it? Just keep it?
They're gonna put it in what they call the incentive fund. And so this is my understanding. Well, basically, yeah, it's gonna go into an incentive fund, and then if regions run out of money, then they can apply to the incentive fund to get funding to take them through either a quarter. Years back, when I first started, it was a risk pool fund. It was
Why
the
would we run out of
leverage.
money? States got lots of money. They're giving it away. I'm just curious why it isn't going back to the counties that it came from, instead, like you're saying, that could go to one county instead of.
Right, it'll go to whoever has the need. Yeah.
And why would they have the need if the state's doing their job? I guess that's my.
Well, there could
runs
still
there, whatever
be,
you wanna call it.
yeah, there could still be some unexpected expenses. And I guess the easy one that we always refer to, we have not had an experience here for, I'd have to go back and look. 7, 8 years, maybe 10, of having an individual need to be at mental health institute, either in Cherokee or Independence.
Okay.
When that happens, that's anywhere between, I don't even know currently, I'm gonna guess somewhere between 8,000 and 10,000 a month. There are also some daily rate services that if somebody would need, and maybe there would be a gap in their Medicaid funding, maybe they're coming out of an incarceration and don't have Medicaid at that point in time. The worst case scenario for some of those daily rates for funding that eventually should be picked up by Medicaid, but they're up around $600 a day for people to live in a facility or in a group home, if you will, a 24-hour setting. Those are for individuals that require a very high level of staffing. So that's an example area of how if you budget to the best of your ability, how would you run out of money? Because we know now, what the revenue is going to be. But some of those unexpected expenses that we'd be required to pay can be very costly. So, anything else? Stay tuned.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Looks like you're down at the end. of the budget work session.
I'm just gonna say, we don't have anything on the budget work session. And boards and commissions, we did have our mental health meeting as Lynn just talked about. But then after that, I had early childhood. And last week, we had our meeting with the state on being recommissioned or whatever you want to call it. And it went really, really, really well. The two people from the Iowa workforce indicated when we got done that when they have these recertification things with the groups, he said sometimes nobody says anything. And he says, we have to pull everything out of them. And he said, that was not the case with your group. I think there were 6 of the board members plus Peggy on the call. And I was really proud of everybody. They answered all the questions, everything went well. And Peggy said that she got an email from the director saying that they were really pleased to hear that everything had gone so well with our recertification session. So we haven't gotten anything officially yet, but I'm sure we'll be recertified. But we do still need, and we're desperate for some people to serve on the Early Childhood Iowa Board from Jackson County. We're way overloaded with Clinton County people. And there are various categories. You can be a grandparent, it can be a faith, it can be, something with providing services. There's several classifications, but we certainly need more participation from Jackson County. And last week I went to the review at Head Start at ACAP. Everybody, and I told them while I was there, I said, people still don't know what HACAP is. They still say Operation New View. And even in one of the advertisements that was about Head Start, it also said at the Operation New View building. And here it's being managed and run by HACAP. And I talked to Jane. I said, Jane, you need to get to Jackson County and let people know you exist.
Right.
And she says, well, we have sent stuff out. And I said, well, I'm just telling you, Dennis Voigt at the radio station, when I talked about HACAP, he had no idea what I was talking about. I said, the mayor of Macokota did not know when I said something about HACAP. I had to tell him, well, it's in the Operation New View building, but it's now HACAP. So, I don't know if it'll go any farther, but I told the 3 people that were there for the interview that, you need to get them on the stick and say, hey, you have to let people know what HACAP is. So, but that was a good session, and they have not put in a new floor. That was the first thing I looked at when I walked in the door, to see if they had a new floor yet, and they do not. And they they do not have 16 students yet. They're only taking 9, and they do from 8 in the morning till 3 in the afternoon. And I didn't realize there were kids there because we were sitting there by the kitchen counter having our meeting. And all of a sudden, these 5 little kids, I didn't hear a peep out of them. It must have been their nap time because I did not hear. This gal came in and out of this one room, but she walked like to the west. And so I didn't think anything of it. And then all of a sudden the cook was getting out bananas and milk and stuff for their afternoon snack. I thought, there's nobody. And then all of a sudden, all these 5 little kids came walking across the floor. And I thought, God, I've never seen children that were that quiet. But other than that, they have everybody hired now, but they still don't have a new floor. So that's all I have.
I don't have anything, I got 911 tomorrow night, but I did jump on Larry's Iris board there a little bit just to hear about Spruce Creek a little bit, so apparently they're still working on contracts and easements.
That's been going on for,
I would like to try to speed that
7
up
years.
somehow, but
well, they tried to get Sarah to do it. And I was just like, let your job, get it done. So hopefully that comes around. The grant money's there, I believe.
I don't know.
So it was 531,000 and another,
Yeah,
it's almost $1 million.
all of a sudden that will be gone and it won't be done, but that's what, hopefully they can speed that up a little bit here yet and maybe get working on that. I know there was a presentation that was rather lengthy from a gentleman that was proposing to buy out all of the,
Oh, the water
System.
system, yeah. And they were good with all of them except for Leisure Lake because it had like $8,500 owed for each system. And they'd like to see it around 4,000. So they can make their profit. I kind of ran some numbers on that with what they're charging, and it's over $250,000 a year comes in from Leisure Lake, which would pay the note off in about 9 years.
Okay, Kelly Brown, I see you're on. Do you have anything on, any comments or anything you wanted to say?
I don't, but thank you. I just try to watch your meetings when I can, so I can keep updated on what business is going on, how's it going, and I find them very informative, so. Again, I just want to thank you all for all that you do, that I probably more than most know how much time you put into it, and it's very much appreciated.
Thanks,
how's it
Kelly.
going for you? How's it going?
What's
for you?
that?
How's it going for you?
It's going well. It's very busy, but it's going well. Thank you.
Okay, is there any other business coming for our meeting today?
Lori Scoble, lines.
Oh, yeah.
us, and been, I mean, our major asset for the Dakota Watershed Authority is kind of put everything together. She is taking a new job. So, seems like Erin's gonna move up in her position for that. So, seems like a good fit.
Hopefully that change will be smooth and
Yeah.
Well,
keep rolling. You've
at
been
our-
advancing with that and
at our RCND meeting last week, I'm sure that Lori will still be, she'll be working for Grinnell College, but she will be working from home. And she said that she will be available to assist and to help whoever takes her job. So she said she would make it as smooth a transition and she would be as helpful to the new person as she could be. So
if there's no further business, I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
we have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. Meeting is adjourned.